What is up, everybody, and welcome back to M3 Wrestling Podcast. I am the Macho Brandon Smith, and joining me today, as always, Kenny the Dragon Gorman. What's up, Kenny?
What's up?
And to my right, also joining me, like always, Andrew the American Dream, baby, Christensen. What's happening?
It's great to be here, baby.
That's good. That's real good. Ooh, yeah, dig it. So that great opening there. Yeah. Yeah, dig it.
I'll talk about some clubbering.
Yeah. We'll just do the whole podcast like this, man. I got the macho glasses on, so it just kind of gets me going, you know?
We got so much to talk about.
We got so much to talk about. Dig it. So yeah, we've got a, I want to always say we have an exciting show for you today, and we're going to have an informative show for you today, because it's not really an exciting pay-per-view we're going to talk about. I got to get my hands up like this. So today on the podcast, we have, last time out, we talked King of the Ring 96. We've covered a couple WWF pay-per-views, on our journey to the Attitude Era and the hotness of the Monday Night Wars, what led up to them. We decided to switch over to WCW this time out because it's a very significant pay-per-view, for at least one reason, and it plays a big part in the Monday Night Wars and how everything took off, because at the end of this pay-per-view, what happens really sends WCW into a new stratosphere, and the WWF has to compete.
Yeah.
Thus getting to the Attitude Era. But we're working on that. We're still in 96, obviously. And so we're going to review Bash at the Beach 96 today. Before we get into that real quick, I gotta put Kenny on the spot, just so he'll be nervous all of a sudden. We did a Mount Rushmore episode, and you haven't done a wrestling podcast with us yet. Do a Macho Movie Madness podcast with us. Do you think, just real quick, what your Mount Rushmore of wrestling would be? Your top 4 wrestlers.
My top 4 wrestlers.
Yes, can you do that?
Stone Cold.
Okay.
Triple H.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Randy Orton.
Okay. Really? Randy Orton, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Randy Orton's one of the greatest wrestlers.
Really?
Yes.
Very interesting. Okay. So we kind of did a one together when we did ours. We kind of created a list that we were both good with. When we went Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, because what he did for the business.
Right.
Not because he's amazing in the ring, but... And we did Ric Flair.
For the territory days.
For the territory days. And, we left Jerry Lawler off, but that's, which he's kind of on the cusp.
Right.
And we did Bret Hart for our 4th.
Finding that 4th one was really hard. Because the two of us.
We really wanted to put Taker on there. And you also had Shawn and Triple H, The Rock. There's so many. There's too many people. Like Brock is awesome too. And I do respect that, because we didn't put Andre. We talked about Andre.
We talked about Lou Thesz.
We talked about Lou Thesz. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Like, Brock was more like Andre's an attraction, but Brock probably doesn't get enough credit. Even though he is more of the attraction type, the dude can go.
Yes.
He's a freak of nature. He's super strong. He's super fast. He is a good competitor, a good wrestler, a good worker. He sells great. He puts people over. You don't just bury people. I mean, there's.
I think if he doesn't lose that 10 years where he goes to UFC and football.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's
100%. 100%. But anyway, I just figured I'd ask you that since you weren't on the podcast the last few couple times, and add links to our podcast, because we're kind of worried about this going a little short, because it's not the best pay-per-view.
It isn't.
One of the guys on our Mount Rushmore, though, is on this pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan. And it's a very big moment in the Hulkster's career. A very big change. First off, I got some notes here real quick I want to go over before we get started on this pay-per-view review. And I'm just going to read them real quick. Get ready here. So, Just a little FYI for everybody. Just a couple little nice little ditties, little facts. Attendance 8,300 in attendance in the Ocean Center, Daytona Beach, Florida, was the site of this pay-per-view.
Damn, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it took place on July 7th, 1996. And, it's not that bad. So I don't know what the capacity is, but that's pretty...
Yeah, so it looked pretty full.
Pretty full.
Yeah.
I was going into the 8th grade.
Yeah. When we did our Bash at the Beach 2000 review over on our other podcast, I think it was only like 6,000 for the year 2000. Yeah,
okay.
Shows you how bad they fell off.
Oh my God, they went so high up so fast.
They fell hard.
They fell super hard. Before we get into the first match of the night, we had a set of matches actually that was not on the pay-per-view. They were on Main Event, which was, for those out there who may have heard or have seen Heat growing up, Sunday Night Heat, it's basically what their Sunday Night Heat was, and for a little while there in the mid-90s, they used it as a precursor to they had a Sunday night program, but they used it as a precursor, just like Heat, to their pay-per-views. There was a dark match for the night. Jim Powers defeated Humorous, as I like to call him.
Huge erection.
Huge erection. So the main event, and this, Kenny's hearing this for the first time. Me and Andrew talked about this earlier. This is from the wiki, from WikiWik. Think about the matches, just off the top of your head real quick, before we get into all the reviews. Just think about the matches and who's on this card and some of the matches and how they went. So, they put these on the pay-per-view. These are the matches from Main Event before the event started.
Oh, God.
Jim Powers defeats Humorous, which I already mentioned. Bobby Walker beats Billy Kidman. The Rock and Roll Express beats Fire and Ice. Eddie Guerrero beats Lord Steven Regal. And Steiners beat Harlem Heat for the WCW tag titles. I don't know who went in. I can't remember who went in with the tag titles on that. I didn't write that down. But
the final two matches that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and I mentioned those for the reason at the end.
Yes.
Because those should have been on the pay-per-view.
100%.
Yes. We should have had
a Billy Kidman match could have
100%. Well, that's what he said. He's like, I'd rather watch Jim Powers than what we got.
I actually went through and said, if you could have taken these four matches off, which are the kind of the jobber matches on the pay-per-view, and that's like 40 minutes, and given those 40 minutes to Eddie Guerrero and William Regal and the Steiners and Harlem Heat, you'd have a good show.
Changes the dynamic of the
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. And I didn't write the times down. I wrote the times down for our normal matches. I did not write the times for these down, but most of them got like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. So like Eddie and Lord Steven Regal was like 2 or 3 minutes or something.
Steiners and Harlem Heat in a World Tag Team title match with a title change got 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes on Main Event, on their Sunday night program, the free program.
Yeah.
So, but even still, you take these other ones off, and they're 6-minute matches or 10-minute, 8 minutes, whatever they were. At like, oh my God.
So you're going to do Booker T and Stevie Ray like that?
Yeah. You put you put the Steiner brothers and Booker T and Stevie Ray on Main Event, and you put Steve Mongo McMichael versus Joe Gomez on the pay-per-view. That's a jobber match.
Who was doing jobs on Nitro.
He was doing jobs on Nitro.
I completely forgot about him till I watched this and he came out.
This right here, guys, if you're listening, I know that all the things that happened in the next 2 or 3 years really skyrocketed WCW, and there's some good stuff on WCW over the next few years. But what you see in WCW in late 99 and 2000, that dreck of a program, these same people, just about, are running this shit before all the good stuff. Like, so really it just kind of reverts back to 1996 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
This is the kind of ridiculous choices we're making to put on a damn card. Now, WWF's not exempt from my criticism on this, especially around this time, because the new generation is just kind of fading out slowly into a new attitude era.
And bro, you can't blame me, bro. I wasn't even there, bro.
Yeah, I wasn't even there, bro. It was not me. Okay, I swear to God. I swear to you, bro, it's not me, okay? Fucking Russo. Okay, anyway, so let's get into this. So we thought we'd share that with you because anybody in their right mind would rather see an Eddie Guerrero match, even in his younger days, with Steven Regal. William Regal And the Steiner brothers versus Harlem Heat. Come on.
I don't know how I can hate this pay-per-view anymore until
I ruined it even more for you. Yes. Yeah. So, but let's get into the
actual card.
The actual card. Now, I don't really have anything to say about anything. I don't really have a lot of the context of what was going on, other than obviously the Outsiders match, because this is the new, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash come in, invade WCW.
Hostile takeover,
man. But we're going to get down to it right now in match number 1 of the normal card. It's Ray Jr. versus Psychosis, with, just saying it now, the best match of the night.
Nowhere to go but down from here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It fell way too hard. There was some good stuff on this show, and we'll get to it. But
those guys were all over the place. Very exciting.
Very exciting
match. And Ray, I forgot just how young Ray looked.
Oh, yeah.
He's like so little, man. He's so little.
2021 here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's already been wrestling like 7 years.
He started wrestling the year after he got out of diapers.
Yeah. Just the training wheels came off, and he went into the ring instead.
Ray is in my top 10 favorites.
Some of the bumps that Psychosis takes in this match, like doesn't he do like a back senton to the outside? It just made my spine hurt.
There's something like that, yeah.
Wild.
There's so many damn spots. Ray doing that Hurricane Rana from was it the top rope onto Psychosis on the apron, or was it off the apron onto the floor? I can't remember how it went. I think he done it off the turnbuckle, right? Wasn't it? Into the apron, and then he fell to the floor.
Wasn't he standing on the apron?
Maybe that's what it was.
He come off the turnbuckle.
Yes.
Then they went to the floor.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. A lot of Hurricane Ranas in this. Frankensteiners.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to say it. Depends on who you are. Hurricane Rana, if you're Mike Tenay. By the way, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Mike Tenay only did commentary with the guys on this match. But damn, that was good. Yeah. It was super, super good commentary with Mike, bringing Mike, because I love it. It's not only was it a good match with good wrestlers, good cruiserweights, but you brought in a guy who's really, really well versed in wrestling, and he tells the backstory of these two guys. That he gives you whatever commentators don't give you, especially in AEW today. He gives you everything. Yeah. He gives you the background of these guys, the background of the moves. He's telling you moves. Even Heenan's like, where are you coming? Are you just coming up with these moves off the top of your head?
And Heenan was coming up with names for moves off the top of his head that were really funny.
Yeah. Heenan is so great on commentary. Shivani, this is probably one of Shivani's best commentary nights ever.
And we were talking
about Dusty's always great.
How when we did Bash at the Beach 2000, how bad the commentary was compared to WWF in 2000. Yeah, they were really good here all throughout the night.
Yeah. Well, and in the later days, when things started falling apart, even the commentators didn't know what the hell was going on. And they're making
careless.
Yeah, they didn't care. They were making comments on air, well, we don't know what's going on. This is a shit show. They would say basically that on air, and they were still kind of doing this. One thing I do love about their commentary is some of the stuff that you hear is right off the top of their head, whatever they're thinking at the time, whether they care or not, and no one does anything to him. Vince has got it locked down. He wants you to say a certain thing. He's screaming in your ear. These guys just say whatever. Yeah. And it's so good.
Hey, can you imagine him yelling at Dusty for some of the things?
Baby, let me tell you something, baby. You ain't going to do that to me. You ain't going to do that to the American Dream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a club room, baby.
Yeah. If you will.
He bounced off the table. The table didn't break. We'll get there.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll get there. So Ray, good finish here. What was he do? He goes. What was the move? It was
they call it Splash Mountain. He's trying to powerbomb him off the top rope.
Yeah. But he reverses into Hurricane Rana, Frankenstein, or whatever you call it, and gets the pin.
I think they called it a Frankensteiner on the commentary.
I think they did. Tenay was saying both. So, and I call it both. Either way. It was a good finish. Ray wins in 15 minutes and 18 seconds. I gave this match a 4-star.
I did too.
Just super, super good. Definitely the best match of the night. You can't go wrong. And a lot of these guys back then were, these mid-card guys were giving you the match of the show.
Yep.
especially in WCW around that time. Let me see if I can find Meltzer, the Meltzer driver here.
Oh boy, I bet he thought a lot of this one.
Oh, he loved it. I know he did.
Yeah.
Meltzer gave it a 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, it's almost the perfect match.
Yeah. Well, until he reinvented the wheel again and gave us 6 stars or whatever the hell he did. Goofy bastard. Yeah. Mike Tenay coming out was great. The match was great. Just like this is how you start a show.
Yep.
They just didn't continue, in a consistent way.
They did not, and we're go right into one of the biggest shit shows of the night.
Yeah. Did you want to give this one a rating? This first one a rating? Or did you already say it? I don't know.
I'll go down to your guys' ratings. I know how you guys like to go 1 through 5.
Yeah. That's
I give it a 4.
4 stars.
Yes.
Okay.
All across the board.
Okay.
All across the board.
And on the duds, we instead of saying duds like Meltzer, the Russos.
Yeah.
Vince Russo, the Russos. The duds, a Russo. Steaming pile of shit. If you will. Anyway, so yeah, like you said, Kenny, the second match was a real shitter.
Steaming pile of shit.
Yeah. The Carson City Silver Dollar match. You could just call it the Silver Dollar City match. Hell, it don't really matter. Like, it was a coin purse of shit that you just hang on a pole that 300 plus pound dudes should not be doing, but you did it anyway.
Yeah. And it had zero entertainment.
No.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
not good. Big John Tinta versus Big Bubba.
Big Bubba.
I think the intrigue in this was, at the time, Big Bubba was with the Dungeon of Doom, and he shaved like half of Tinta's hair. Or his
Yes,
beard.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
So,
for those of you who don't know who Big Bubba is, if you're just listening to this, Big Bubba is Ray Traylor, or Big Boss Man, is better known as Big Boss Man. And Big John Tinta. John Tinta is, what was he, Shark, Avalanche, and the
Earthquake.
natural disaster. He was, Earthquake and the natural disasters with Typhoon. Still better than Typhoon's WCW gimmick in the early 90s, the Shockmaster. But still not good.
that character was literally breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about this one, guys. We pretty much already summed it up in the big shitter list. It was, I gave it, what did I give this thing? A 1 star? And that was probably too nice, but I gave it a 1 star just because Jimmy Hart climbed the pole for everybody.
It was pretty impressive.
It was pretty impressive. He went up there like a little monkey. He come down. It was kind of funny because then Tinta just took the damn thing right out of his hand and smacked the hell out of Big Bubba and then pinned him. And it was pretty funny. Okay finish. I don't know how else you get out of there. It's just a garbage-ass match.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was a 8 minute and 58 second, or 53 second, I think, whatever.
About 3 minutes too long.
It was 8 minutes and 53 seconds too long.
Yeah. In fact, if I would have saw Eddie Guerrero beating Lord Steven Regal here, it would have been a lot better.
Yes.
Or something.
Eddie is
As you
also...
said earlier, even Jim Powers versus Hugh Morris. I don't even care at this point. Jesus.
Eddie's also one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, he's great. One of the best.
Yeah, I go half star.
I give it zero.
0.
Zero freaking stars.
So a Russo. You're giving it a Russo.
I'm giving it a Russo.
Okay.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
We need a button you press that says "Pro" every time we give it.
Meltzer gave it a 1.25 stars.
Oh my goodness.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, he's feeling generous.
I also need to mention here that this match and the next two, and really, well, even the main event, all have, if not a gimmick-related title to the match, like a gimmick match, it's got a gimmick title, like it's got a gimmick name to it. It's got some kind of goop, like the Outsiders match was the Hostile Takeover match.
Yeah.
This one was the Carson City Silver Dollar match on a pole, whatever the hell. It's goofy. The next one, Taped Fist match.
Yes.
Okay. Some Japanese or outlaw shit here, I think. Maybe some old... it is a real match. I looked it up. I mean, it's
it didn't fit either.
But it did not fit these guys' styles. DDP was still kind of coming into his own. And I love Jim Duggan, but his days were over already. And
he still frequently overstays his welcome.
The highlight of this match for me was where he's got Duggan straddled around the ring post and he's pulling the tape out, and Dusty Rhodes goes, he's pulling the tape out of his drawers.
Yeah, he's pulling the tape out of his drawers.
He still doesn't know how to use it.
He's wrapping his legs around the ring post and stuff. Let's see. This was a 5-minute, 39-second match. Meltzer gives it a star and 3/4. And I gave it a 1.5 stars. I loved both guys, but it just did not fit well, baby. It does not do it for me.
1.5 stars does it for me. I did like the finish where Duggan was coming back in the ring and DDP kicked the rope and kind of
just cuttered him. Just
did groined him and then gave him the cutter. I thought that was probably the best part of the match, honestly.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then was it? Did Hacksaw attack him afterwards?
Oh, yeah. He wrapped the tape around like the whole roll.
Yeah. Being the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'll
give it a 1.
Okay. I mean, that's at this point, it doesn't really matter. It's a dud too.
It's a pile of shit.
It's a pile of shit. Not as bad as the last one though. We will be at least a little nice. If anybody's got nothing else to say, we'll move on to 4. And this is why I had to ask you that question at the beginning, because we're going to talk a lot about some stuff in this pay-per-view, but
I will say
stuff in
that
between.
After that match, it did cut back to backstage where they had a talk with the 3 good guys.
Oh yeah, Sting, Luger, and Macho Man.
And they all go rocking the face paint, and I hate it.
Oh yeah, it's corny.
It is, and so was that whole interview.
It was very much a 1991 interview in 95, and it's like this over. It's over, brother. Not gonna do it for me, brother.
They pushed Luger hard, in that, like, he was really front and center in that interview, and then obviously later on when
we'll talk about that.
Talk about that. I just thought that was funny. I can't help but cringe on stuff like that. Whenever I really came into wrestling was really in the Attitude Era and the late
90s.
Yes, and for WCW, it was, the NWO and stuff was already there.
Yeah.
And so the guys on the mic and stuff were pretty good, and that's what I got used to. So when I go back and I watch these older ones, I'm just like, and I know that they hadn't got there yet. Everybody learns and takes something from somebody that came before them. But
if they're going off the cuff, which they probably very much were then, because it's not WWF, it's not going to be.
It's not heavily scripted.
It's not heavily scripted or contained. They're going to have good nights and bad nights on the mic and in the ring and everything else, because it's going to be a little bit more free for all.
Every time the Macho Man spoke, it was straight from
just whatever
free for fall.
It's just whatever came out of his head.
Yeah, I bet he never rehearsed any kind of, because his shit was so all over the place.
Now I will say he probably didn't do it on mic, but his matches are very meticulous.
Yeah,
a lot of times his matches
are written out.
They're written out. Like him and Steamboat, you wouldn't think, but WrestleMania 3.
That classic is scripted.
Him and his Steamboat worked every single spot in that match down to and got it down before they went, which is an amazing match. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy to think that they did that instead of just called it in the ring like most people did, especially back then.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to the 4th match of the night.
Oh boy.
The double dog collar match. The Public Enemy versus the Nasty Boys. Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but at the same time, I don't care. I don't like the Nasty Boys. I've never liked the Nasty Boys.
They're nasty as hell.
They're nasty. They are nasty. And I know that's the gimmick, but they're not. I don't even think it's a gimmick. It's just they're nasty.
Not a single wrestling move in any of their matches.
No.
Dude, I've seen Hogan Knows Best, dude. Brian Knobbs is gross.
Yeah.
And retarded. I'm sorry, he's uneducated and he's dumb.
And then you've got the Public Enema on the other side, and They don't wrestle either, and it's just
no. They were the assholes that APA, that Farouk and Bradshaw,
right? They roughed up.
They roughed up real bad in that match, and that was nasty. Yeah, that was a bad deal.
Yeah, and then they tried to do the same thing to the Dudleys, and they fought them.
Yeah. So, man, they beat the hell out of them. It's so funny. Farouk and Bradshaw's a bastard, dude. Anyway, that was hilarious though, because I don't like Public Enemy either.
Yes.
Yeah, this match was dog collar doo-doo right here. This is like they just drenched each other. They rubbed their nose in every bit of feces out in the backyard. That one at the end there, he pushed him off, and the damn chain
it came off his neck.
And he snapped his neck forward, and it came off his neck, but it also tied up the other dude's. It wasn't Knobs, it was the other guy's leg.
Yeah.
And about broke his ankle because he tripped off the chain.
You get a bunch of unsafe guys working together.
Yeah, in a situation where you're contained.
Shit show.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then, of course, the famous table spot that it didn't break twice. He slams them onto the table, off onto the table, doesn't break, hits it like a melon.
And bounces.
Table does not give a damn inch. And then he puts him back on and comes off the top rope onto him, thinking that 600 pounds is going to now go through this table. And they both bounced off.
Fire the prop guy.
Yeah.
And and of course the commentary at this point is making fun of it. It's just the whole, almost, it's like, that's the strongest table I've ever seen.
Yeah. And they're probably working hard to try to hold that together.
Yes. And they finally it was off camera, kind of. They caught the tail end of it. They finally, after the match, they got the dude to go through the table on the outside. And all the commentators finally got through that table.
And I'm going to give that match a 1.5 solely off the table.
The table?
I got
the table was the best worker in the match.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I gave it 1.75 for that, so just a little bit nicer. But it was entertaining enough that these guys just roughed each other up, and that table spot was hilarious because they deserved it. But other than that, it was garbage.
I'll give it a 1. But the table was the best worker in the match.
It was another wasted spot. On
the only thing stiffer than the guys in the ring was the table.
Yeah, that was 11 minutes and 25 seconds of hell
that Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers
that should have had.
Yeah.
DDP and Jim Duggan had 5 minutes 39 seconds. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I'm just going to throw that out there just in case. So also, by the way, I think I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it, and I luckily remembered it. But so they said something. They started right after the match. They wanted to get the hell off the subject of this match, so they started immediately plugging the Outsiders match. Right after that, and they're like, "Who's going to be the third man?" And you just hear Heenan pop off. The table should be the third man.
Yeah,
the table should be the third man.
And I love that. I got a kick out of that angle. The all night long is. The cut backstage, and Mean Gene's always like, everybody's worried about who this third man is.
Yeah, the commentators like, we have protection? Is anybody going to get us?
And I can tell you, being the only one at the table who was actually watching back then, of course, this was during the summer, so we were I was in high school, but we were out of school at the time, but you still call your friends on the phone. I can remember talking with my family around the dinner table about who the third man was.
Really?
Because we all watched it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you at the time, we weren't expecting Hogan, but I really thought because they weren't doing anything with him over in the WWF, really thought it was going to be X-Pac.
Oh, yeah.
Joining those two guys.
Yeah.
And, but
that would make sense, too, which he did eventually after he came in. A little bit later, he did. I think it was 96 when he came in, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit later in the year,
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad they went the way they did.
I completely forgot that X-Pac went to WCW.
Yeah, he became 6.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, Stone Cold would say 6-pack. Told him that night on Raw, he's like, X-Pac, I like your name. X-Pac, I like your name, son, because it kind of reminds me of a 6-pack. So I think we got through that nonsense. Okay, back up the rankings just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Dean Malenko versus Disco Inferno for the WCW, say it like Michael Cole, WCW cruiserweight title.
And I never thought I would ever say, boy, I'm glad to see a Disco Inferno match.
Right?
But after the crap we just watched.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. Let me read these off. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I was going to let you all know the Meltzer. I said a star and 3/4 for the taped fist, star and 1/4 for the dog collar match. And for this match, which I did not rate it this high, 3.25 stars.
For Malenko and Disco?
Yeah. I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah.
But it honestly, guys, it's a really good technical wrestling match, even out of Disco. No one expected Disco to win this, and he didn't. But I'm not such a big hater on Disco like a lot of people are on the internet these days, and probably back then.
I always thought he was funny.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous gimmick. It was meant to be taken seriously. He's obviously a shit heel that tries to get everything. He's kind of a turd. And of course, the dancing gimmicks, like most dancing gimmick or party gimmicks, are just there for fodder or for goofs. But I think his name's Glenn Gilberti. Gilberti. Seems like an all right guy. And he does pretty decent. And honestly, I would take him in any form over a lot of guys now. Yeah. Especially the ones that are out there slapping their legs, super kicking every 5 seconds. The guy can...
Stop.
Yeah, please stop.
Stop it.
He can put on a match. He can sell in a match. He worked with Malenko perfectly here. Malenko, who has no charisma, is one of the best technical wrestlers of all time.
Everything he does is charisma.
He is amazing. He's a little bitty guy, a little bitty thing.
Yeah, I never liked him.
Because he doesn't have a personality.
No,
he's like Lance Storm. Lance Storm is an amazing wrestler, but he's just...
Can you imagine Lance Storm versus Dean Malenko?
He's like
my God.
Robot,
you put everybody to sleep.
Like 2 robots going at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be a sound-ass technical match, but but ain't nothing to it.
It was a well-wrestled match.
It was.
Except I thought that... and maybe I'm the only one that's seen it that way, but when Malenko went to give him that suplex, like, it almost looked like it was botched.
Oh, I don't remember that spot.
He went to give him a suplex, but it ended up dropping him head first.
Oh, like a brain buster? Was it a brain buster?
No, they didn't even say brain buster. They said suplex.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So it looked like it was almost a miss. You know what I mean? But it made me cringe when I seen it.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually,
some of those brain busters are pretty rough to look at because you think,
I actually think this match they used, because Disco took quite a beating, and they used him as kind of like the fiery underdog in this. I think they used this to kind of try to toughen up his character a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though he ended up submitting in the end.
He got some offense, and it was decent. It was some decent offense.
Some bursts of... momentum in the match.
Yeah, what does it mean when we're sitting here breaking down a Disco Inferno and Dean Malenko match when we just had the shit we had? Like, crazy. It's so crazy when this is the second, or this is the second highest rated match on the card.
You need something to cleanse your palate with.
We told everybody in the beginning that this...
Yeah.
This is a shit show.
And that's a good point, Andrew. It really brings the pay-per-view back up a notch to, keep you interested to just stay a little bit longer. Luckily you have to, back then you have to pay for the damn pay-per-view, so you need to watch it all. But if this was live TV, you'd be like, I'll change it for a while.
And at this point, the free matches on what was it called?
The main event.
The main
event is still better than this pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming so.
At this point.
Yeah. At least the lineup is.
And speaking of free matches, if you watch the Monday Nitro after this, Dean Malenko ends up losing that Cruiserweight title to Rey Mysterio. Yeah. And that's a really good match if you've not seen it.
I'll have to go back and watch that then too, for sure.
Of course, you got the ramifications of, the fallout from this show.
Yeah. Well, and how about that? I love that finish too. The Texas Cloverleaf is a cool ass submission move, and then he preludes it with that little double underhook power bomb.
He also used the STF.
Yes, he did use the STF for a little while. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Which I don't know what he called that.
It was just STF, I think.
Was that what its technical name is?
Yeah.
They they didn't get to have the disco dance party after because he didn't win.
I know.
Right.
I know.
So nobody got to go to that.
Well, Heenan apparently has been to one, and he said they were pretty wild.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know. I said 2.5 stars. Meltzer said like 3.25, whatever he said.
I go 2.5, 2.75, somewhere there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. What'd you think?
2.25.
2.25. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Still better than everything else so far, except for that Ray match.
Yeah, it went up, and just like a roller coaster, folks,
it goes right back
we're
down.
Coming right back down.
Wow. Almost. So, like, I watched this match twice, because I went through the pay-per-view a little bit again, just as a refresher course, when I took my notes. And this is Steve Mongo McMichael with Queen Deborah, who would go on to better things in WWF, and her puppies too.
The puppies.
Oh my God,
the puppies.
Versus Joe Gomez, that no one knows who the absolute fuck that is.
They went down to New Mexico and pulled this guy off a reservation.
100%.
So I do
He
vaguely
was still high on peyote.
I do vaguely remember him doing jobs on Nitros to like the Giant and stuff, but I think they were trying to give him like a Antonio Banderas type gimmick. He's just a little too pudgy to pull it off.
The fat Desperado.
If this wasn't his last match in WCW,
it should have been. Yeah.
Game over, man.
Yeah, game over. He looked a little bit lost, like you mentioned before, Kenny. He's especially that ending, man. He had him up against the ropes, and then he moved him over to the middle of the ropes like he was going to give him an Irish whip off the ropes, and then he just like you could tell they were talking to each other. He didn't know what to do, and then Mongo basically just like said "F you" or something because he grabbed him and turned him, and then he whipped him through the ropes, and then they did some kind of botcheroo on that too.
They're both new to the business. Mongo has no business teaching anybody anything in the middle of the match.
Why is Mongo teaching anything? He's an athlete.
Why is this match on the pay-per-view card?
Exactly. And then Mongo hits a tombstone to win. Thank God.
One thing I wanted to add:
6 minutes and 44 seconds.
When Joe Gomez makes his fiery babyface comeback, he's jumping off the mat about 6 inches and he's hitting these chops. And if you listen to the crowd, you could have heard a pissing ant fart.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad.
No one cared a lick.
And for me, this is the worst match on this card for me. I thought it was, the worst match. I liked the shit show pole match.
Yeah, I rated them.
The finish.
I rated them both the same at 1.25. Which I don't like. I'm not a star critique kind of person. I'm not a guy. I'm not Meltzer. Well, I'm no one's Meltzer.
Thank God.
Yeah. But I gave them a little bit just because they're both new. But it should not have been on this card.
No, that's fine.
This is a Russo for me.
This is a definitely. Yeah. I should probably just change mine to a Russo.
This one is I just shit my pants and puked all over myself. I give it a negative.
Yeah. Negative star. Okay.
Two Russos.
That exists too, and I'll tell you why, because Russo gave it a negative half a star.
Okay.
So you're right
there with him.
You're right there with Russo.
With Meltzer.
Meltzer, I'm sorry. Yeah, Meltzer.
That's awful.
Thank you. Meltzer, so he gave him 3.25 for the last match at 12 minutes and 4 seconds, and this match was 6 minutes 44 seconds. With a negative half a star.
Wasted time.
I can't believe that. But I need to just change mine to dadgum half a star too, or negative half star.
I think about all the things that I could do.
The thing is, if I go back and change it, then I have to go back and knock down the other ones a little bit of a peg too. And I'm just not going to do that right now. I've already said what I said. The fact of the matter is, they ain't good. So it doesn't matter.
There's lots of things that you can do in 6.5 minutes.
Oh my God!
But you don't get.
You know how much time Eddie and William Regal could have had in 6.5 minutes, and even 4.5 minutes,
and been 100 times more entertaining.
Yeah, at least something.
Yeah. Just the entrances alone, they didn't even have to wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been good.
Yeah.
Eddie wasn't coming out with the lowrider at that time, but still, come on.
Oh, but he had a low hanging mullet.
Let's move it.
It was wild.
Let's move this.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, let's move along.
Woo!
Ric Flair
Thank goodness.
Ric Flair versus Conan, who I like both of them, man. Conan is a very, very, very good talent.
I like this Conan. I don't really care for Cholo Conan.
I was huge LWO.
Oh yeah, I like all Conan. I think pretty much. This was good. I don't really like the outfit really as much, to be honest with you, but
it's very AAA Mexico
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I thought these two worked really well together. It was you kind of blended styles a little bit, but it kind of worked okay.
Yeah.
Before that, by the way, we had an interesting little promo in the back where Ric Flair was dogging on Macho Man, telling him Elizabeth ain't coming back. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I did not put that in my notes, but that was so damn hilarious.
And Mean Gene telling her she just came into a bunch of money.
Yeah. And Woman macking on Mean Gene.
Yeah. Nancy Benoit. It's oh my god! And by the way, I also wrote this in my notes somewhere. But Woman is the most annoying
at ringside.
Oh my god! And the thing is, it's so fun. Woman is a great ballet, I think.
Yeah,
she's a beautiful, beautiful gal. And I don't mind her loud annoyingness, but when you put her up against Elizabeth, who is also a great ballet in her own way, but completely quiet and opposite, have both of them out there just,
they were bad, man. They were screaming.
Well, she was screaming, and Elizabeth was you couldn't even hear her screaming. She was yelling, I think, trying to.
Every time something would happen.
Woman was over the top.
Oh my God.
Too much. It was too much.
And if you want to see really awesome Woman, check out some of the Florida stuff from like 84, 85, where she's in her early 20s wearing black leather with Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. Kevin Sullivan, dude. We'll talk about him, I guess, a little bit.
We'll get there.
Let's get to we'll get to that later. I'll try and hold my thoughts. So 15 minutes and 39 seconds for this one. Conan actually comes in as the U.S. champion, the WCW U.S. champion, and Ric Flair takes it away from him.
Yes, he does.
He wins in 15:39. I gave this I actually changed this a couple times at just trying to fine tune this rating. I gave it 2 3/4. I think that's pretty. I had it at 3. I dropped it just a little bit. I think probably either one of them's okay. It was a good match. It was a good, solid match, and is compared to anything else you're going to see on this card, almost it's right up there. And I love Conan. I love Flair.
Yeah, 2.5 for me.
Yeah.
This to me, okay. So this is a good indication of they're trying to put the belt on someone to elevate the belt.
Yeah.
Do you know who Conan won that belt from?
I do not.
In early 1996, the one-man gang was the United States champion going into 1996.
Oh my god!
If that tells you how far that secondary title had fallen.
That sounds like the 24/7 championship R-Truth or some shit right now.
Yeah, one-man
I love
gang
R-Truth, but dude, the belts mean nothing now. It seems like, but for a long time.
And that's your second most prestigious title in WCW. And so, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So get that title on Flair, get it some credibility.
Yeah,
and go from there
for sure. So would you give it? Did you give a rating yet on that?
2.5.
2.5. Okay. Solid match.
Yeah.
Solid
that's about all solid.
All solid. Then we go kind of back down the toilet again. We have our pre-match promos from both teams here, which is the Taskmaster or Kevin Sullivan, and Big Show. Well, I put Big Show as a natural thing. It's the Giant, Paul White.
I was always calling the Big Show.
Always the Big Show, right? The Giant versus Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit.
The Family Butcher.
The Crippler, the Crippler CrossFit, the Canadian Crippler
here. The Family Crippler. He'll get no love from me.
7 minutes and 59 seconds for this one. I gave it a 2-star.
This should have been better than what we actually got, given all the parties involved.
It should have. It should have. It was okay until this is what I put. It was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay until that little catapult spot with Sullivan and Arn, where Arn, and I'm guessing this is mostly Arn's fault, but he did not get him catapulted up to that corner to Benoit, and oh god, he falls to the fucking ground. Arn has to like scoot his ass up on top of him just to get his knees up under him, and then bolt himself off into the corner to finish the spot. It was bad. Yeah. And then to top it all off, after he hits Benoit, he backs up into Sullivan, who gives him a back suplex, and Arn sells it like Hulk Hogan because he barely gets up for him and just looks terrible.
Arn looked awful.
Yeah.
In the ring.
So, and not through the whole match, but
so Arn was not long for the wrestling world after this. He went in for neck surgery that ended his career. So I'm wondering if
something happened, or if it was just like
this is him, his body finally giving out.
Yeah, it might have been because I love Arn Anderson, I do, but this unfortunately wasn't him. And Giants, like show was good, but he ended up having to be like retrained. My dog is shaking her head.
Yeah, she doesn't like this match either.
Yeah, she didn't like this match.
Like this whole pay-per-view.
Disapproves of the Bash at the Beach. So yeah, he's still very green. He ends up having to go through training again when he gets to WWE because you have to put him through, and then there come the weight issues.
I thought the best part of this entire segment was Arn Anderson's promo beforehand.
I did think that was a good promo.
Arn could always talk. Now on the flip side, you go to the Giant and Kevin Sullivan. And did you see Kevin Sullivan when the Giant was talking? Just the mannerisms. That dude was like on another planet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Who, Sullivan?
Yeah. He was saluting at one point.
Yeah, he stood straight up when he was.
Yeah. He's the backbone of our, and like it was just nuts. It was like what?
I'm still not 100% convinced he didn't kill Benoit's family and set him up. I'm just kidding. I love.
You gotta get Kitty fired.
Have you heard that? Have you heard that? That conspiracy?
You
haven't heard that conspiracy?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god,
Chris
yeah.
Benoit's a murderer, a murdering piece of shit.
We'll get it. That's the topic. Me and Andrew want to talk about Chris Benoit, his career, and everything involved in and around it. So we definitely want to talk about that. We'll do that another day.
We'll do it another time.
But
okay, then let's.
There is a conspiracy on that.
Don't dive in. Don't even open that can of worms.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to.
What I got on this match here is I'm gonna give it a 1.
Really?
Yes, I didn't care for it.
Okay.
I love how once the Big Show gets tagged in, it's game over.
Yeah. He just finishes Arn off.
He wins, and he leaves.
Yeah, he goes to the back.
Benoit is murdering Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
And the Big Show
use of that word again.
By him.
Never sees him.
Yeah.
Never sees him. Then comes back out.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, did he do that on accident?
Maybe.
Did the Big Show leave because he didn't think that there was going to be
he may forgot
activities, or
I don't know, or he just he
seemed odd.
Yeah, I put in my 30 seconds in this match and I'm done.
I'm going to the back.
It might have been played out too, just so they could get some heat on Benoit and get.
Yeah, because they had that whole thing with Nancy coming out there. Stop.
But he shouldn't have done it right by the Big Show because it looked weird as hell.
Yeah,
that the Big Show just walked right by his partner while he's getting his head bounced off the rail.
Yeah, commentators even mentioned that too. Heenan or somebody was like, "Why?" Or Dustin, maybe it's Dustin. Why? What was he like? Well, he's even asking why was woman out here? What does that have to do with anything? She's not. She's a horseman.
They're trying to blur the lines.
Yeah. Because of because I think was that happening around that time when she got with Benoit and left Sullivan.
I think later that year they did the promo where they were together drinking the wine and stuff.
Yeah. So I think I may have actually forgot to. Did I give 2.25 stars for that last Flair match from Meltzer? I don't know if I said anything on that.
I'd give this 1.75.
This he gave it a 2. I actually gave it a 2. Just there's some high spots in it. They're not high, but there's some okay spots in it. Yeah. But bad stuff from Arn, and of course the finish at the end. Big Show getting the win over Arn, and then the beat up thing was interesting enough, I guess. This whatever. I like Benoit and the Horsemen. Yeah. I like kind of the mid-90s Horseman era.
Guys, that was real sand.
Yeah.
Because the murderer was like completely covered in it when he got thrown in.
It
stuck to his sweat. He looked like he would just lay down.
How did you like the old crab camera? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Where Mongo come out, just the claws moving around.
I did like. There's a lot of things that they did, and they did stuff for this, and like Halloween Havoc. They would do the festive stuff. I like how a lot of times like an image would dissipate into a wave, like on the replays for this show.
I do, yeah.
Just nice little touches.
I think they did something similar the next year too, because they came back to Ocean Center in '97 too.
Yeah, they did a lot of the same buildings,
which was the Rodman and Hogan thing, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, also I wrote this down and we forgot to mention this, but when he comes back out to save Sullivan, he carries him out like a child.
Yes.
Like a woman, like a damsel in distress, kind of just carries him out.
It's very odd.
Weird, weird. About as weird as Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. It's like he was the friendly giant. Take my buddy. Look at my buddy. Need to carry my friend.
Number 9 on the list. Hostile takeover match, the main event. It is time. Michael Buffer even comes out and tells us, let's get ready to rumble. Just such nostalgia, right?
He still had color in his hair.
Huh?
He still had color.
Yeah, he still had a little. He
did.
Little darkness to him, didn't he?
Brother Darkness.
Brother Darkness.
Darknesses. I should have never gave you.
It's long before Wesley Snipes. Back then, the Murphy brothers were called them Darkness. They were the blackest on.
I hate the back of Wesley Snipes' neck. Because it's dark.
It's dark.
We don't want to get into that.
Hostile takeover match. The Outsiders with their mysterious third man versus the Macho Man. Luger and Sting. This goes to a no contest in 16 minutes and 55 seconds. The Outsiders show up without their partner, even get an pre-match interview with Mean Gene, wondering what the heck's going on. And they're just like, we'll just take them. We don't need them right now. Yeah. Well, it'll be revealed. We don't need them. We're good.
We're good with what we got.
We're good with what we got.
And I like how they come out and, the NWO is not established yet. They're actually in Wolfpack colors. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the black and the red.
Black and red.
Yeah. The Outsiders had the red and black from the beginning. Yeah. They didn't do the white and black until NWO was actually formed. Match was solid. I love this match. The good thing here, and Kenny, I think you talked about it or you mentioned it earlier about Luger, who has this big forefront spot in the back. They put him front and center.
He's the leader.
He's the leader of this kind of right
tag.
Because they're pushing him, and he's out in like 2 minutes. He gets over in the corner. He's on the apron, and he's fighting. He's with him and Hall are in.
Yeah, he's clotheslines Hall, and then Nash gets him tied up in the corner.
Yeah. So Sting's like, I'm going to stop this shit right now. Mm-hmm. Goes and Stingers flashes Hall or Nash, excuse me, who's got him underneath his arm, smashes him in the turnbuckle post. Luger's out on the floor. They roll his ass to the back, and he is gone. You will not see another peep from him the rest of the night.
Yes, he didn't have a pulse.
Yeah, he was dead.
He was
dead.
And honestly, if I'd seen this live,
the total package was totally dead.
If I had seen this live, the way they had been pushing Luger before this, where he was Sting's partner, but he was with the Dungeon of Doom, and can you trust him? I would have actually thought, is he going to come out as the third guy?
That is a good point. I didn't even think about. That is because I didn't have that. I didn't have that context. I didn't watch it. That's a really good point because and I don't even think they didn't even.
No, they didn't.
They didn't allude to it.
They could have.
They really should have alluded to that a little bit. I don't know, something
in the storytelling.
That would have been interesting because the only time you see anything is Hogan coming out, and most people are happy about that because it was right after the low blow.
Yeah,
and
it didn't even get like crazy crowd buzz when he first come out.
Well, because they didn't know what was happening. They're just like, oh my God, he's out. He's going to save the day.
They didn't hit his music either.
No, he just walked out.
Walked out.
Yeah. And the only one to say anything on commentary was Heenan.
Yeah.
Because Heenan didn't really like Hogan, so he was questioning what his intentions were, and everybody else on the commentary was, oh, stop it, come on. be crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, well, come on, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it got edited out of a DVD, a Hogan DVD release. I read somehow,
Huh.
but I don't know if
It's still on the network.
yeah, it is. People may not have been happy about that because maybe they gave it away. I don't know. It don't matter. Like he was out there for 2 seconds before he turned. Yeah, so he hits him with the Stinger Splash, gets the hot tag. Macho Man comes in, snapping necks, cashing checks.
Crowd's crazy.
Snapping Slim Jims.
Snapping those Slim Jims, and crowd's going nuts. He's getting the double axe handles off the turnbuckle outside to the floor. Really, really hammering it on.
The energy's high.
Yeah, is it Nash or Hall? One of them gets the referee distraction and then the low blow, and that's when
I can't remember if it's Nash or Hall that gets
distracted.
the low blow.
I can't either.
I can't. Either way, they get the low blow on him. It just kills that comeback, and then Hogan comes out. Everybody's like, "What?" And he pushes the referee out of the way, gives him the leg drop. Gives him another leg drop, and that's when everybody's like, what? And the crowd, it's very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Because you got, some of them are cheering, some of them are like, oh, this is finally happening.
The 20-something-year-olds are
Yeah.
standing up cheering.
Yes, they're loving it. Everybody else is in shock. It's kind of quiet, but it's also some boos, there's some cheers. Everybody's just kind of processing this different in different times. And, and of course, and this is the best Schiavone's been on commentary, kind of like Shades of JR, where he just, I can't believe this. This is crazy. And just great.
Didn't even say at one point, Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell.
As they were going off the air. As they were going off there, he's like, for Mike Tenay or for so-and-so Dusty, and I'm Tony Schiavone. And Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell.
I think
we'll see y'all tomorrow night or whatever. Go to hell.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that next night on Nitro, he had to apologize for saying that at the time.
Maybe. Oh, did he?
Like on the air, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was genuinely great. That was great.
I really love the broadcast.
He should have held his ground. And said,
Yeah.
I will not apologize.
Yeah.
And it could have been just storyline driven, but
Right.
I really like the broadcast team in this. The Homerism going on there, most of the time you're impartial, but no, they were like, all WCW all the way, and I really thought it added a lot to the match.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I gave this match, by the way, a 3.25 stars. I thought it was a strong match. The tag match was good. It's good and back and forth. The storytelling was good. Mm-hmm. I think it could have been better after you mentioned that with, if they would have alluded to Luger maybe coming back and turning.
Yeah, let Bobby Heenan sneak one in.
Yeah, but that still great. And of course the twist at the end, even though it was a no contest, was so good. I'm going to try to find...
and then just chucking the trash in the ring.
Yes.
You fans can stick it, brother.
I did 3.25. Meltzer gave it a 3.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. 3 for everything. I think the match is about a 2.5, 2 3/4, but the whole package.
Yeah, I'd give it 3.25.
I'm a 3.5 on it.
Yeah, that's kind of where. Yeah, maybe tied together with everything.
Yeah.
Because that promo, a lot of brothers.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan style still, and he slipped up a couple times at the end because he called it the New World Organization a couple times instead of he got it right the first time because you got that sound bite. You can call this the New World Order, brother.
That's the one they showed.
Yeah. But dude, the trash kept coming and kept coming. People were cheering, people were booing. I mean, he was just laying it on and thick, and you all can stick it.
And to me, it looked like Mean Gene was really holding back.
Mean Gene is
frustration of him and Hogan kept getting pegged with soda.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wet spilled soda. The
several
cans.
times you can see Gene. Doing this because he's getting hit in the face.
Yeah, Nash was kind of smiling and smirking and slapping stuff away.
They were back there.
Yeah, they're back there hamming it up and doing the Hogan thing,
chewing it up.
Yeah, they were just really laying it in.
And then Hogan getting the wadded up cup that bounces off Mean Gene's head hits Hogan right the side of the face.
Yes, this man. And Hogan, I think they were worried about Hogan doing this, and I think Hogan was worried about doing this. But when it happened, it just fell into place, and he came into it like, you know, even when he was doing the Hulk Hogan thing with the ear at the end, he was kind of doing it with a like a smart smirk on his face in a smart aleck way, and it was.
I've heard like interviews with Kevin Sullivan, because he was the booker at this time, and they both lived in like the Tampa area.
Yeah,
that they came up with this idea, because Hogan was getting booed everywhere he went anyway.
Yeah, and
he actually made Hogan stay over at his house that night, so nobody could get in his ear and change his mind.
Really,
to do this.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good. It needed to happen.
Yeah,
it revitalized his career and changed the face of wrestling. Again, he did it twice.
Yeah,
well, it gave WCW a burst of life.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like between him and Vince, they made WWF in the 80s, the rock and roll wrestling era. And when the people got tired of it, even if it wasn't his idea, he came out and was a part of it again. Revolutionized the wrestling business again.
Yeah, he had to change.
He had to.
Yeah,
but just for somebody to do that twice, I don't care what his politics are atrocious. He's an embellished liar.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
He's a piece of garbage.
He can be. I don't think he's a terrible human necessarily, but business wise, he'll probably cut your throat, and that's the way a lot of these guys are. But Hogan's Hogan, and whether you love or hate him, you have to acknowledge that the dude, even if he's not the greatest in the ring, is one of the best of all time. That's why I put him on Mount Rushmore. And I shared that with you. I think that Japanese stuff is New Japan.
Oh
wrestling,
yeah, he's doing hammer locks, doing chain wrestling.
He's actually chain wrestling. He's doing like the drop toe holds and arm bar.
Something a 6'8", 300-pound guy shouldn't be doing.
No,
that was my
enziguris.
Yeah,
that was my thing with him. I thought he was one of the most boring wrestlers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he just had nothing, man.
Well, and
he wasn't power bombing. He wasn't jumping off the ropes, flying over ropes.
But when his music hit in the 80s, that's all that mattered.
Oh yeah. His larger than life character, and that leg drop. Even though it's just a leg drop, and you mentioned this earlier off the podcast, Kenny, but the leg drop's kind of boring, but it works for him. Like, it's just such a big move for him. For whatever reason, it's just something nobody else can do that and just be like, "Yep, that's it." Of course, it ruined his.
Nobody else should do it.
No, nobody else should do that. No. Just overall, I wrote overall the show was okay, not the greatest, not good in most places. The end, however, is one of the biggest in history of wrestling.
What would you rate it? Total.
Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because the strongest points of the night and the history making turn and promo at the end. The beginning of the show is how you start a wrestling show. There's a couple matches in the middle. The rest of it did suck, but
the commentary
was on point that night, and all you needed, just like half the shows in the Attitude Era. You could have Drek in the middle, but if Austin starts the show and Austin ends the night, it don't matter. And this right here was not only just the most groundbreaking thing that happened in wrestling in several years, it was a shock. I mean, it's one of the greatest, most historical events of wrestling history. So you can't help but give it a pretty decent overall rating because of that. Just because of that.
I was thinking 2.5 to 3, but I can go 3 just because of what the show means.
So we're about all the same. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, so it's around that. Yeah. It's at 7 out of 10. It's a 3 out of 5. That's pretty much where we're at. Yeah. Overall, and that saved it. 100%. That saved it because it was all you needed for the night. I would have gave it a 1.5. Oh God, it would have been a star and a half or 2. I mean, because you're talking about a cruiserweight match being the best match of the show, which it often was.
We're looking for Saving Grace in the Disco Inferno match.
Yeah, we're sitting here talking 5 minutes in a Disco Inferno match, and you don't even want to think about the other shit ever again. Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
if you want to see a really bad show, like watch King of the Ring '95, where King Mabel wins a tournament. You know,
yeah. The guy who I don't dislike, Viscera, was great, but not great. But he was what he was. But nothing against the guy, but he's greener than goose shit. You still have him win because of his size.
Big Daddy V.
So
a show like this is better than that, but it's still not
Undertaker's
great.
orbital bone. It's worth the watch if you just go back and watch this last match, and the Hostile Takeover match. Solid storytelling. The commentators did great all night. Go back and watch that Ray match, and if you haven't seen that Hogan promo ever or in a while, go back and watch that. I was like, I can see during the show, I was like, I had to rewind a couple times the first time because I was like, okay, I just can't get into this. I played on my phone a little bit during a few of those inside matches, those middle matches.
Or we probably missed the botched suplex.
Yeah, which I may have. That's why I may have missed the damn box suplex, because I was like, I ain't worried about this shit at all. This is not good. But when they pulled up that package and started that whole build up and that end match started, I was in it. I'm gonna watch this. The storytelling was good, and then of course when that promo came on, dude, I was grinning ear to ear. It was just like this is still what it still holds up so well. Even the brother, all this still was so good. I also need to make one last mention that I wrote down. I just now saying that with that video package, long. That video package was way too long. Not bad, way too... WWF, even at that time, WWE has always been the king of vignettes and packages. Any kind of promo or package that you'll see at an event or tribute or whatever, you'll never top producers at WWE for that, ever. And even back in 96 when things were pretty bad WWF-wise because they're about to lose the company... They were still had the best video editors in the ever. They knew what wrestling packages were all about. This one right here was just showing basically events leading up and all these. And
it should have been half the length.
It should have been half the length. It was just rough.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have for that. Anybody else have anything else to say?
No, it's a very historic show, and like you said, there's a couple things on it worth watching. But I can't really recommend it other than the main event.
Yeah. So next up on the agenda is, I think we're going to move back to WWF to get some of this shit out of our mouth, the taste out of our mouth. I don't recall an international incident being super good. Was it on the level of Be Aware Dog? Is that what you said?
It's on the level. There's a couple good matches there.
Okay, I mean, do we want to do that, or do we want to do something? We want to do the next one? What do we want to do on that?
Yeah, we can do that. So
just kind of go in order.
We can get that done.
Okay, it's like 2 hours or less, isn't it? Okay, so not bad. So we're going to go In Your House, International Incident, be In Your House 9?
I believe so, yeah.
9 or 10?
Yeah.
9 or 10? I think that's what I've already forgot.
I believe it's probably 9.
I think it's 9, because I think Beware Dog was 8. Anyway, we're going to do that next. We'll have that. Like I said, if I haven't said it already, I don't remember. We've talked about a lot of stuff. You could find us on YouTube, any of our podcasts or other wrestling contents on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Podcast Land, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or I guess if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can also get us on podcasts if you want to take us on the road and listen to the rest of the show. We're going to do International Incident.
Another 6-man tag for the main event.
Another 6-man tag for the name.
Anything you can do, I can do better, but it wasn't necessarily.
If you're listening, if you came from YouTube or listening on YouTube, because we're going to do the video version of this on YouTube, then I just want to give you a quick shout out to everybody who has recently subbed. In the last couple weeks, it's been kind of growing faster than I expected, and we really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you enjoy these, and you can also send us any kind of inquiries or messages if you want to ask us questions or get our thoughts on anything, or if there's something specific you might want us to do. m3wrestling@gmail.com. You can send that over there to that.
Yeah.
I set up that email the other day for you guys. If you ever want to get on the show and ask us a question, or just ask us questions and answer on the show, and we'll give you a shout out as well.
Yeah, we're specifically going through 96 into the Attitude Era, 97, 98, so you keep in mind those kind of questions.
Yeah, if you want to do
specific.
Yeah, if you want to do that. And if you want to do something a little bit different just as a question, it's no big deal. But and if there's a specific show you might want us to review on the side of that's okay too. But yeah, if you can, if there's something you want to talk about in pre-Attitude Era and the Attitude Era, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
And for those that don't want to subscribe and don't want to listen to us, we got 2 words for you.
That's right. On that note, we're out of here.
Peace.